Hi, YouTube. Monster Balisong for another review, and this review is a Squiggle Scale Replicant. I will be comparing it to a normal replicant. Well, this is a select replicant, Scorpion, and the Squiggle Scale is alt blade, but I don't find the alt blade to be different enough to consider this much different than a Scorpion. So the Squiggle Scales, if you don't know, this is a very cool dude who I've chatted with on multiple occasions. Sells damn beautiful, amazingly machined handles. Shout out to Linguini. And it's just the machining work on this is so high quality. The texture even on the inside of the handles, which you don't touch, just looks so pristine. You got weight saving holes in them, but you have holes in just amazing spots for grip. And then the texture, this ripple texture, easily the best texture that he makes. They're a bit pricey. They run about 300 bucks. A Squiggle Rep with the blade attached is about 600 bucks. Do I think that's worth it? I guess you'll have to watch the review and see. Will this usurp the Replicant, my favorite knife of all time? It just might. So let's get into some bad flipping. Let's get into some normal stuff that we do, right? Let's check out the weight first on this Squiggle Replicant. Now this doesn't affect the length at all. Still 5.5 inches, as you can tell. 5.5 inch handles for a replicant. Very similar. So a normal replicant, let's make sure that's zeroed. Normal replicant's gonna run you 4.79 ounces. Keep in mind this is the Scorpion Tonto, so this will weigh a tiny bit more than a regular alt replicant. So that was 4.79 ounces, and this is 4.40. So this actually shaves some weight off of a replicant, which is interesting because it's full titanium. But the interesting thing about a Squiggle Replicant is, you may notice right now, but this thing doesn't have any liners. It only is the handles and zero liner. It actually also gets rid of the need for body screws for the Zen pins, which is awesome. They just sit in there flush. That's a really cool big bonus in my opinion. So the Squiggle Replicant, let's get into some huge positives of it. The grip from this machining is amazing. He also makes two other machining patterns. One's diamond, where it's just crosses, right? And then the second one is called herringbone, where it's just lines. They both look amazing, but I think this easily takes the cake for the nicest looking Squiggle Scales. So that's one positive, is the grip. Second positive is gorgeous. I think this looks better than this. Not by much, but just enough to bump its score up a little bit. That's all I'm gonna say, I'll hint to that. I think this actually, one huge bonus is, so I was afraid going into this, Replicant being my favorite knife of all time, right? I was afraid that these would somehow ruin the flipping experience. And the amazing thing is, because I gave the Replicant a 10 out of 10 on flipping, the amazing thing is I think this is just as nice to flip as a regular Replicant. I would say a little bit nicer, but it's a bit similar to a regular Replicant. A little bit different, right? Because you have different handles. The ergonomics are a bit different, but the weight is still very similar. So we'll get there's your balance for that, right? We'll throw this right up there next to it. If you can tell, the Squiggle is actually just a tiny bit more handle bias than a typical replicant. People will tend to put in barrel spacers from Kuski on Squiggle Reps because they want them to be more neutral. But if you like a nice handle bias beast, the Squiggle is actually pretty damn nice. And I am a handle bias bastard. So positives are going to be your looks, it's going to be your grip, It's going to be your flippability increase. Just absolutely amazing. Negatives. Now, the only negative I would ever have would be that they are pricey, but I don't judge things by price just because that's not something I do. So, no negatives, no cons on this thing. Like, this thing is just... it's like a different version of a replicant. It looks nicer than a replicant. It grips nicer than a replicant. It flips similar to a replicant. A little bit different, but just as nice in my opinion. And that's that. I'm just gonna keep singing this thing's praises because I fucking love this thing. So for the ergonomics on this thing, I did give it a 9. This thing is so damn grippy and comfortable. Oh my god, it is beautiful. This texturing is just so pleasing to hold. You have to hold it to really understand how grippy yet slippery when you need it to be that this thing is. It's just fantastic. It spins amazingly because of that titanium. It spins a bit better than a regular replicant for a Chaplin. Sometimes your fingers do. It is a little grippy. It kind of messes up my choker fans. It's kind of harder to get it started, but I mean, it's a 9 out of 10. That's an amazing score. Flippability. Now the regular replicant got a 10 out of 10. This thing gets a 10 out of 10. This thing is fucking fantastic. I fucking love this thing. I can do all the tricks that I can do with the replicant with this thing. Now I'm flipping over a table, so I'm going to be a little sloppy because I don't want to break my table. But I love this thing. It's fantastic. It does everything I want it to do. So that's a 10 out of 10 on flipping, which is really nice. Looks, I gave that a... you know what I gave it. I gave it a 10 out of 10. Fucking amazing. Just beautiful, gorgeous. I love how when they come together, they make that like hypnotic circle, right? And then outwards, they just keep doing their texture. Even the other ones look as nice, but I think Ripple is the nicest texture that Squiggle offers. So that's a 10 out of 10. The second one on this review. And then the materials and finish, that is a 9 out of 10. The handles are fucking perfect. The one thing that gives us the 9 out of 10, I hate to do this to you, Squiggle. You didn't make the blade. This is BRS's fault. BRS tolerances make this a 9 out of 10, not a 10 out of 10. Because you got yourself the 154 cm blade, you got yourself grade 5 titanium, I think, and the finish is perfect. He actually postponed my shipment a week because he realized there was a small scratch on my blades, so he remade the whole damn thing. If that's not a devotion to quality control, I don't know what is. So yeah, that's an amazing score. 9, 10, 10, 9 for the highest score yet of a 38. Yes, this beat the replicant. We have beaten the replicant way quicker than I thought we would. And how did we beat the replicant? Well, with another replicant, of course. I'm so surprised I dropped the knife. We beat the replicant with another replicant. This thing is just, it exudes perfection. It exudes like a serious quality control and knowledge of how to balance a knife. I think this thing is a quintessential flipper, and it makes sense why it always fetches such a nice aftermarket price. Why it even fetches a nice retail price and sells out super quick. So that is my opinion on the Squiggle Replicant. We'll see you guys in the next review. Get one of these if you can. They're pretty pricey though, but I'll tell you they are worth it. And if you don't like it, you can sell them quick. So I'll see you in the next video. Peace.